So hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been around for a while. And if you have been around for a while, you'll know that there are two games that I pretty consistently play. And that is World of Warcraft, one of my favorite games. I've been playing it for a very long time. And the other game I play quite a bit of is The Sims. And I was recently thinking and watching various YouTube simmers as they've been playing Deligracy's Tiny Town Challenge, which I really liked the idea of, although I wasn't exactly sure that I was ever going to do it because For Rent is one of those packs that I still don't have because from everything I've heard, it's buggy as all get out. But I also very recently started, and then my save file corrupted, the Forgotten Realms Legacy Challenge, which is a D&D inspired challenge. It's like a 14 or 15 generation challenge, and unfortunately my save file corrupted, wasn't able to recover it, but I was thinking about restarting it with a World of Warcraft twist, and then I did a little bit more research into the Tiny Town Challenge and ways that people have been adapting the challenge to fit a playstyle without For Rent and also without using the roommate system, which seems to end up with everybody having extremely high bills. And I thought about it, nailed it down in my mind, and what I decided to do is move 8 of my World of Warcraft characters into the world of The Sims. They're going to be living in Newcrest, and they are going to be doing things heavily inspired by both the Forgotten Realms Legacy and the Tiny Town Challenge. Just like in the Tiny Town Challenge, they are each going to be building a small home based on a color and a skill. I did try to make each of the colors and skills match some of my World of Warcraft characters as closely as I could. The other thing you might not know about me is in World of Warcraft, I play on a roleplay server, so I kind of already have most of these characters' backstories extremely well fleshed out. So I think what we're going to do now, as soon as we're done flying around Stormwind, is introduce you to each one of these characters. Alright, the first character that we are going to be introduced to is Beryl Starfall. Beryl is a rogue, and she is probably my oldest World of Warcraft roleplay character. She is a shy girl, but she is a very masterful thief. She is a unaffiliated elf. She is not a blood elf. She is not a high elf. She is just an elf who has not sworn her allegiance to anybody. She kind of thinks of herself first, but among other things, she is an explorer and an archaeologist at heart. She's also a master thief, which is why I have set the challenge for her to steal something every time she leaves her home lot, along with making a house in the farmhouse style in predominantly greens. She also is going to need to max out her archaeology and gardening skill, and Beryl's going to be building a farmhouse style build based on the farmhouses found in Pandaria around the Half Hill area. I thought that would be an interesting little challenge. She also is going to have to make a treasure room and a very large garden to finish off her generation. The next character is the Warlock. Warlocks are seekers of knowledge that lies hidden in the multiverse, and funny you should mention the multiverse because our Warlock, Diedrich, is actually connected with Beryl, and he is the only character in this Tiny Town challenge that is not a World of Warcraft character that is actually one of my own. He belongs to a very good friend of mine who was the one who sort of really spent a lot of time with Beryl. In fact, Beryl and Dee, I can't think of one without the other, which is why he's in this challenge. Now, Diedrich in the World of Warcraft is actually a Wagon, so this version of Dee is going to be a werewolf. So he needs to max out his werewolf skills and become an alpha werewolf, and he's also going to be using nectar making to make his money to build his tiny home. Along with those two things, he also is going to be building a antique Gothic style home that is based on his home area of Gilneas. That's going to be a challenge and a half, and he has to have a wine cellar / dungeon area and an orchard. He is also going to be a critic. He is going to go into the critic skill. Our next Tiny Towner is actually the daughter of Diedrich and Beryl. There's a whole really long backstory in there that's got a lot of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey shenanigans that I'm not going to get into until we actually get into her tiny town home. But suffice it to say, she represents the bard in the Forgotten Realms. I actually had to think really long and hard because there is not actually a bard yet in World of Warcraft. But Donna is going to not really be a bard in the traditional sense, but she is going to be a social networking bard. She's going to be a YouTuber, basically. She is going to join the social media career and become the next Max Miller. She is going to hold her very own baking and vlogging show. She is going to be building in sort of a shabby boho type style, inspired by some of the homes where she grew up in Everlook out in Outland. She also needs to become a 5-star celebrity and max out her cooking and her baking. So I'm looking forward to doing that because I think it'll be a lot of fun. Coming in to represent the Ranger class, or in World of Warcraft, the Hunters, is Onyx Starfall. She is actually the sister of Beryl and one of only 2 of my characters who I regularly play who is on the Horde and not the Alliance side. Now, Onyx is a little bit of the standoffish type, and so she's going to be building herself something akin to the Farstrider or Silvermoon type things in oranges and kind of a little bit on the Art Deco side. The decor styles are kind of more a guideline than a hard and fast rule because I'm going to be basing all of their builds more on World of Warcraft mixed with The Sims. We'll see how well I pull it off. Don't actually know how that's going to work out. But she is going to use more of the orange color palette. Onyx is going to be joining the painting career, well, actually the civil design career, And she is going to be maxing out painting and pet training and building a modern take on the spire type homes around Silver Moon City. She also possibly will be getting herself a horse. I figure if any of the characters in this Let's Play end up with a horse, it's most likely to be Onyx as our hunter/ranger type. She also needs to, in her build, have a studio and a pet training area, because training your pets for a hunter is very, very important. Our next two characters are again kind of related to each other and sort of go together, even though since they're both my characters in World of Warcraft, it's kind of hard to ever have them meet up, but here in The Sims they can. We are starting with our paladin. Our paladin is Hyperion, and his color is yellow, tending more towards golds. He is, as any good paladin, he is going to be joining the military career on the officer track. He needs to build himself a luxury home. His skill is gemology, because in World of Warcraft he is actually my jewel crafter. And he needs to include a fitness room, because obviously paladin, you definitely need to keep fit, although he does seem to enjoy marshmallows from the little bit that I just let the Sims run around out there. And he needs to have a gemology workshop so that he can craft all of the jewelry he ever really wanted to craft. Going along with him is our next character, and that is his twin sister, Celine. Now, again, long, complicated backstories. Let me know if you want to know all of my RP backgrounds on these characters. But Celine is his twin sister, who he can't really see because he is, alas, on the Horde side, and she is on the Alliance. Celine is a fire mage in World of Warcraft. She is a sorcerer here in The Sims. And she is an inscriptionist in World of Warcraft. I figured the closest analogy to that in The Sims is the writing skill. So she is going to be maxing writing and maxing out her magic. She's going to be building an Art Deco inspired home in the High Elven, specifically the Chandelier style around Dire Mall. And she has to include a study and a library. She has to have a writing room and a library to call her own. Our next tiny towner is Aerie. Aerie is a druid, and as such, she is very close to nature. I don't know if I said it as such, but I might actually make her lot off the grid. It just kind of fits with the whole druid aesthetic. She's going to be maxing out gardening and flower arranging, and she is going to be building a sort of natural paradise garden style home inspired by Moonglade, and she has to include in this a moon well, because Aerie in The Sims is going to be a mermaid, which I figured was about as close as we could get to actually having a druid in this game. And our final tiny towner is Rowan. Rowan is our cleric. In World of Warcraft, she is a priest. And in World of Warcraft, she is my tailor, and it just seemed absolutely perfect for her to be joining the stylist branch. She is going to become a fashion trendsetter, and she is, as you can see, a big fan of the color pink. She is going to be building a fairy tale castle style build. She needs to have a makeover room and a stylist room. She's going to be maxing out photography and the style influencer career. And I think one of her bonus things is she's going to be required to give each of our tiny towners a makeover before it's all said and done. So those are our 8 tiny towners. The 2 big things that we really need to find out now is A, who we're starting off with, and B, what we're going to be doing with the holding pen, which is what I'm calling it, where they're all living right now. How we're going to do this is everybody is in the world and they are all in the largest lot here in Newcrest. We're going to spin a wheel. We're going to see who comes up on the wheel, and that person is going to move out onto one of the 8 lots that I have set up. They each have a tent, a poo bush, a cooler, and something to get them started in their career. That'll kind of help them make money a little bit. And just like in James Turner and Kelsey and Peacha K and Deligracy's things, they also need to improve the holding pen area. And I'm thinking as they improve it, drop in your suggestions down below, but I'm thinking they're going to have to make some sort of a World of Warcraft inspired tavern up there, and maybe a little like park area. But drop in your comments, let me know what you think, because that's pretty much all we have left except for spinning the wheel. All right, I have a random wheel going here, and let's spin it and see who our very first tiny towner will be. Round and round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody. And we are starting with Diedrich, our Warlock. All right, just a really quick reminder here. Our Warlock, his color is purple. He needs to max out the werewolf skill and nectar making. He needs to build a gothic-inspired house loosely based on the houses around Gilneas. He has to have a dungeon / wine cellar and a very large orchard for all of his grapes that he is going to be turning into nectar. So, yay, we have a winner. We're going to take him off the wheel and head back in and move him into his lot in Tiny Town. All right, so there is the man of the hour. It is Diedrich, who is here in our lovely holding pen, but not for much longer. Diedrich, it is time for you to split from the household and move. So pull out your phone and let's head to your very own lot and take a look at it. I also put dogs and cats as a thing that is just sort of everywhere. All right, Diedrich, we are going to, of course, we're going to create a household with no funds. I turned on the free real estate cheat for this. I figured it was the easiest way to do it. Don't tell me I can't afford this lot. I have free real estate on. Alright, let me try this again. Alright, if you aren't sure, I guess you have to do this from this screen. What you do is just type in free real estate on, and now we can actually move into our house. There we go. We are purchasing our very own home. here with Mr. Diedrich, who is going to be our purpley winemaker. He is right here at the Warlock abode. This is his tent. He has a cooler, and he does have a nectar maker and a little bit of wild prairie grass over here by his poo bush. He also has a couple of seasonal plants. I tried to keep it to things that were under 500 simoleons, so I guess we're just going to kind of let him check everything out here. Maybe see if we can't find something in this prairie grass. Like maybe we could just harvest all the prairie grass over here. I haven't decided, and please do let me know down in the comments below if you're thinking maybe we should let them sell directly from their inventory, or do we want to make sure that everybody has to have a sales table? These are interesting little things that I think we should definitely work out. I've seen it done kind of both ways. Alright, Dee, you have gotten yourself a bonsai bud. Well, isn't that exciting? What does that do? A small cluster of fragrant green berries that can grow a bonsai. We also got some horse manure and a little bit of prairie grass hay. This also seems to be quite exhausting for poor Dee. I do have a selling table over in the holding pen that we can use if we decide that that is how we want to make our money. But of all those things, how are you feeling here? We got a little bit more horse manure, which I think is probably a grand thing. Let's go over here and open up these seed packets and see what we've got here. Because I'm thinking that Diedrich definitely needs to be working on a few of these things. We also need to check on his werewolf ability points. Now, I've never actually played through the entire werewolf pack. He can be ferocious, intimidate other Sims for fun and profit. He can take a wolf nap wherever he would like. He can mark his territory, which is kind of hilarious, dig up lost treasures, and do a little bit of licking away dirt, which I'm not sure that that is a D thing. I think for right now, we're going to go with wolf nap, and I'm thinking scavenger for right now, just because anything else is not quite in the character's personal thing. Alright, can we maybe craft some nectar? I guess we can't craft any nectar yet. We're gonna need some grapes or some apples or something. So you know what, let's see what we got that we can plant. We've got some strawberries, we've got bonsais. You know what, let's plant a couple of these strawberries. We're gonna see if maybe we can craft some strawberry nectar. Maybe we'll be able to get a few things done here. So let's go ahead and plant a few of these and just get Diedrich started on his nectar making journey and his werewolf journey. I think we need to keep an eye on his fury. Like I said, not really something that I have ever actually played with in The Sims, so I'm kind of curious as to how this is all going to work out. You know, we got to start small. And this is definitely feeling small. I think as soon as we're done with this, maybe we'll go over to the holding pen and see if we can't sell our grass hay and maybe our manure. Oh, hey, and the welcome wagon, and it's all the people we know. So you know what? Let's invite our neighbors in. It's our daughter Donna. It's our sister-in-law Onyx, our good friend Rowan, and it looks like Celine is here as well. I don't know where Beryl, who's actually his partner, is, but I guess she feels no real need to welcome him to the neighborhood. He's like, would you guys like to come in? I see you brought me a fruitcake. Thank you. Alright, well, there is our not only neighbor, but daughter. Also, I did make a tiny town group so they can actually have gatherings together, and it's just a really easy way to kind of make sure everybody is around at the same time. Alright, looks like Dee is having quite the nice conversation here. I think who he should invite over is possibly his girlfriend, but we'll just do the welcome wagon here. Rowan, what you doing over here? She's like, I'm gonna put down this fruitcake. You know what? Every sim has their own preference as to fruitcake, and I am kind of curious to see if Dee is a fruitcake lover or a fruitcake hater. So everybody's gonna head over here, grab a little bit of fruitcake, just checking on everything. It looks like Onyx at least potentially likes it. That's something good to know. Diedrich's like, I'm coming over here. Oh, according to Rowan, the fruitcake is a family heirloom. Interesting. Alright, what do you think about that fruitcake, Dee? Because with any luck, you're going to be eating that for a while. You know, I think he likes it. He's got some lunar peace. He's discovered himself. He's feeling great. No, actually, he does not like fruitcake at all. Well, that's always good to know. Alright, Diedrich, I would like you to come over here and water these plants. Kind of see what's going on with the welcome wagon. I would kick them out, unfortunately, considering they are going to be our good friends and neighbors for a while now. I don't think that's the smartest thing to do. I also realized one of the very first things he's going to need to buy is going to be a sink or a trash can. One or the other. But something we can do is just go ahead and drag all these dirty plates into our inventory, maybe? Not that we can sell them, but nope, I guess we can't even pick them up. Well, that's terrible. Alright, well, you know, why don't you come over here, maybe discuss some interests with your sister-in-law, maybe say hello to Rowan, you know, we'll just be a little bit funny, you know, we'll do an impression, we'll come over here and share some photos with Celine, just kind of get to know the neighbors, make sure that everybody is somebody that we are friendly with. I would like to earn a little bit of money though, so I think we're going to end the welcome wagon. Be like, alright guys, thank you so much, but not that we have too much going on here, but maybe we could get a couple of collectibles. Maybe we'll harvest these wild bluebells, see if there are any collectibles out in the world. Look around a little bit. I am just going to completely ignore most of these other people's... Ah! And actually Beryl is here. So you know what? Why don't you call Beryl over and be like, hey, sweetie. He's feeling a little bit uncomfortable from the whole fruitcake, and he's a little bit cold. He's like, you know, it's a little bit cold out here. Well, we could probably put on your winter gear so that you don't actually end up, like, being cold. Silly. Alright. There we go. Put on a little bit of winter gear. Now, Diedrich is a jealous sim. This is based on the character from World of Warcraft. He does get a boost of confidence when he's around his significant other, which I think is pretty good. We're going to go ahead and give her some residence keys. Be like, hello, sweetie. Come on over anytime you want.
Yes.
You know, maybe we'll kiss her cheek a little bit. We do want these two to always be close. Because that is just sort of my happiest thing. Alright, we're going to express a little bit of fondness. We're going to ignore this sim that we don't know and don't want to know. And then we're going to go ahead and see if we can't look around just a little bit and see if we can find any other collectibles out here in the world. That's the one bad thing about Newcrest. Ah, we could maybe come over here and look for some frogs. We can also dig over here and possibly get something there, because we've got to have something to sell. So I'm going to let him do those things, and then we're going to head back over to our community lot where hopefully we can start a yard sale and sell a few things. All right, Diedrich is here. Hopefully we can stock this table. That would be really nice. I don't know if we can until we've been invited onto the lot. So let's just go over here, do a little bit of stuff over here, and then hopefully... Alright, we need to view the inventory. I think we just need to put our frogs into... No? Alright, well, I guess we're going to actually have to do... no, Donna, I don't think this is the right time to move in with your father. That's a little bit weird. Alright, well, it doesn't look like I can actually use the sales table, so I think what we're going to do is just sell at least the first few things directly from our inventory. So let's go ahead and sell those and see how much money we're going to actually end up with. Maybe we can buy our own sales table, which is kind of my goal here. It's not bad, not bad. We've made 300 simoleons. And we got a collectible, which is pretty good. Alright, we have made 408 simoleons already. Isn't Beryl around here somewhere? She is. Ooh, she's over here talking to Hyperion. She's like, Dee, I think you might want to be a little bit jealous here. Although I'm sure it's fine. Also, while we're here, let's check on our needs really quick. It seems like everything is going pretty dang good. Can we maybe do any werewolf-y type things? Let's find out. Prepare for next task. What is our next task, I wonder? We also do need to join a career as a critic. I am thinking that that is the perfect career for him and a good way to kind of make a little bit of passive money. That is one thing I did forget to say. Everybody that is going to join a career is only going to join careers that can be work from home. So let's go ahead and maybe find a job really quick, Diedrich. I get the feeling that none of the things that I want them to do are going to be cheap as far as their builds. So I think, here we go, critic. You can work from home, which is a very good thing. Or you can go to work. He will be working pretty much every day except for Saturday. But he is going to be an arts and food critic. So hopefully we can actually do that. Let's see what his skills are. Level up the writing skill. That's not something we can do right now. Don't worry about that. We're gonna do that. Alright. I think the only other thing, since we can't use the sales table, that we can do here is maybe give our girlfriend a little kiss. We'll give her a little hug and then head on home. Be like, hello, Beryl. Also, if you're wondering why my elf sims are so skinny, it's because they're elves. Ooh, wait a minute. What was all that about there, Beryl? Oh, okay. We're better now. We just had a slight awkward encounter. You know, maybe do a little seductive whisper. Everything's fine. He's like, did I tell you I'm going to become an art critic? Not just art and food. Oh, nope, she is not into it right now. All right, Dee, let's take you home before you end up getting really, really upset. Oh, and Onyx was trying to light herself on fire. Hopefully nobody will kill themselves. Alright, well, he is back home. That was a interesting day. We are going to head into build mode and see if maybe he can buy himself his own selling table with his whopping 400 simoleons here. So I think what we're gonna do is just search through here and see if we can find a sales table. Alright, this is 300 simoleons. Alright, that's not too bad. So, let's see, do we have it in purple? We do. We're going to put this right there. And that is how, hopefully, we're going to be able to make some money when we come back to Diedrich next week. Do leave your comments down below about anything that you think about this Tiny Town World of Warcraft Forgotten Realms challenge. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you next week. I haven't settled on what day Tiny Town will be. It might be on Fridays, it might be on Saturdays, it might be on Wednesdays. That is sort of to be determined, but other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Say goodbye, Diedrich. Your story is just getting started.